Welcome back, friends, to my next worm video. As you can see, this is worm bin 2. In this video, I'm going to do 2 feedings, 7 days apart. There in the beginning, you can see me brush off the corner, or shake off the corner, what looked like a bunch of mites. Like, it looked like dust. Man, I get a little close-up there of that. I posted a little video, which I will include in this video, and some people commented that they think those white things are springtails. And here's a close-up of that. You can see the springtails. You could also see like red mites on there. You can see like different species or different types of things. I don't think anything is necessarily harmful to the bin. I made an effort after this to not add too much liquid or too much water. Or to add a good amount of paper again. I keep my bins pretty wet. Like I tend to err on the side of more moisture as opposed to too dry. Maybe I should start experimenting. Maybe I should do one bin a little drier and keep one bin as is. But I don't know. I feel like I like having the worms, allowing them to have plenty of moisture. I'm never having like pools of liquid on the bottom. As you can see there, you don't see any pools of liquid in the bottom of the bin when I expose it there. But yeah, like I definitely don't like the mites, or I don't know if springtails, if you classify those as mites. But I don't like all those other things other than worms. I would like just a bin of a bunch of worms. Ideally, but they're not harmful. They're helping compost, so I kind of just ignore them for the most part. There you can see the daikon radish sprout in the last bin 2 video that I posted. I just reburied that. This time I just decided, let's just break it up. I'm not I'm not trying to grow things right now in here. I left it in there for a week just to kind of experiment and see what it would look like. And it did. It grew. It sprouted a little farther. But I just decided to break it up and so allow it to try to decompose. Yeah, so you can see there's a good amount of worms spread throughout this bin. On this one, though, on the non-feeding side, you don't see a lot of worms. And I'm seeing... It's hard for me to gauge. There's a lot of times I'm seeing all the worms are just on the side that I fed, because I fed on the right-hand side last time, and this time I'm feeding on the left-hand side, obviously. So yeah, I don't know. Like sometimes they're all just concentrated on one side, and sometimes they're spread out, and they're even on the side where I didn't feed last time as well. And I haven't really identified exactly why that's happening or what are the circumstances causing that. Anyways, so this time, what I feed here, I fed some mango scraps, even some pineapple. This is just a random assortment of a bunch of scraps. Onions, just really just a little bit of just a bunch of different stuff. Yeah, so I fed that on the left hand side this time. And now I'm covering it up. So something pretty interesting on this one, something I've been doing is I don't want the baby worm sticking in my hand and them dying when I take off the glove. I want to put them back in the bin. So I've been doing the spray thing. And I noticed all those springtails just congregated in these pools. And I decided to zoom in and look at that. This is really interesting. The second time I feed in this video, a week after this, I did not spray to like do extra water. But I didn't even notice, like, there's a bunch of them here. I didn't really notice them that much the next time I open this bin up. So in my experience, if you just ignore them and maybe just See, I added some paper there, and I did not water that up, so I think that's going to help dry the bin out a little bit. If you just ignore it, really nothing bad is going to happen, in my very limited experience. So here's me open up the bin 7 days later, on the 24th of April. And it, like, if I were to zoom in on the newspaper, you probably would see like those Springtails hanging out on there, but really not nearly as much as last time. So now I'm digging into where I just fed all that stuff that I showed you on the left-hand side. And you can definitely see little bits of, you get a fair amount of food that's not totally eaten up yet. But I'm fine with doing that. When I wait 7 days and they don't eat everything, I'll just kind of move it around. Those are the mango skins, I think, those strips that you see. I'll just move it around, mix it up, and then obviously we'll just leave that food on the left-hand side. I'll like rebury that on the left, and then I'll put new food on the right. So then maybe those are the circumstances why there's worms all over the place as opposed to only on one side. It's when the previous feeding was not fully decomposed or not fully digested. So then that means, there's food everywhere in the bin. There's all that food left from 7 days ago, and there's the new food that I just fed. So I wouldn't be surprised if 7 days from now, when I open this bin up again, I'll see most of the worms on the right-hand side where I feed, but I'll also see a good amount of worms on the left-hand side. Because I had 2 layers of newspaper when I opened this up just now, so I decided the lower layer that was a little more worn, decided to bury that on the left, and I'll just reuse the other one. So I'm just burying that newspaper with the feeding from 7 days ago, whatever's left of that, on the left-hand side, so they can finish that up. And then I think I'm just doing left-right feedings. So I'm worried sometimes that I'm like maybe not checking on the middle like I should. So this one, I just wanted to make sure I dug all the way out in the middle. It's another mango skin. So as usual, here I go, just clearing away on the right-hand side so I can do the feeding. That's a half of a mango pit that I kind of cut up a little bit. And I think I'll find the other one in a second here. And just make sure to bury that, or just right on top of the food. You'll see me buried in there right on top of the feeding that I do a little later. I bet those will take a really long time. That's probably going to take longer than anything else I put in this bin. So start out just a little bit of shredded cardboard. And I have this bag of kale that I bought a real long time ago, and then I froze it, and I'm just slowly trying to get rid of it piece by piece. I just let it go too long, and then I realized, okay, these will be just for my worms, and sometimes I forget to add some to my feeding, but I'm slowly getting rid of it. This one also total mishmash. I think there's carrot peels in there, onion scraps, and then also I made like a beans. I made a meal of beans, and so I added just a little bit of that in there. I'm curious how that's going to do. I hope the spices that I included in the beans, like, curry spice or garlic powder, all the whatever powders and spices that I use to cook that are in that. I hope that's not a problem for the worms. So I only added just a little bit. I just want to see how they do with that. I mean, it's not a particularly spicy dish that I made. It's just when I say spices, I just mean like flavorings. Hopefully that's fine. I think it will be. I think this will be my first time feeding beans to the worms. And then I just go ahead and cover it up. Yeah. So this will be my video for this week. Just 2 feedings that I did for bin 2, and then a week from now will be my next video for bin 1, and that'll have last week's feeding I did for bin 1, and which I did 2 days ago as I'm recording this, and 5 days from now I'll do another feeding, and then I'll put those 2 into one video. That's about it. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe if you like this. I will see you. Goodbye.